Okay, ParashatV'etchanan. ParashatV'etchanan starts with the fact that Moshe is basically begging HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Itchanan is really to beg. And it says in the Medrash, and Rashi, by the way, brings that Moshe asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu something that he did not gain, I wouldn't say deserve, let's go this way. Chazal tells us that in the physical world is, of course, which is a hint to the way we do things in the spiritual world. Everything operates, physical world, spiritual works on parallel lines, on the same lines. So if somebody owes you something, right, he owes you, let's say, money or something like this, most likely, unless really it's like thick skin or something's wrong with him, he doesn't really want to be around you. If somebody owes you something, he doesn't want to be around you. Unless, of course, he wants to pay you his debt or something like that. And sometimes even if he can, he doesn't want to be around you because he feels he owes you something. And I would say that this is, what's the matter? You're not staying? What's the matter? Why? Whatever. So it's not something pleasant that you feel that you owe somebody something and so on and so forth. And because when it makes the whole situation very uncomfortable because even if he's with you, you always get the feeling he doesn't want to be near you. And in a way, this is the way we act with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. This is the relationship that we have with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. If we feel that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, pay attention, owes us something, and that we deserve it, that he's not giving it to us, we feel that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not with us, he doesn't want us, and sometimes because of that we don't want to be with him either. Therefore, Moshe knew and made sure, he knew this, and he always makes sure that he himself never going to feel entitled to get something from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He made sure that he comes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu completely empty. He doesn't feel that God owes him anything or he needs to give him something and so on and so forth. He has to give you, and you know what I'm saying. Like we all go through this. So when Moshe Rabbeinu did not enter Eretz Israel, and he went on Hor HaHar to hand over his neshama, his chokhmah, his wisdom, that there was the Torah, went together with him. And you're going to tell me, what are you talking about? I'm going to tell you that's exactly what it is. And the reason is because the students, the Talmidim of Moshe Rabbeinu, never really saw it as their own. So when he left, a lot of stuff was gone. It says in Masechet Truma, in Daf Tet Zayin Amud Aleph, Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Rabbi Yehuda said in the name of Shmuel, 3,000 halachot nishtakhu b'yimei evlo shel Moshe. 3,000 different halachot were forgotten when the people were mourning for Moshe. Forgotten. He took him with him. Because it says, V'yi acharei mot Moshe eved Hashem, Vayomer Hashem, and so on and so forth, as it says in Yoshua. And it says, continue over there in the Gemara, it says, Uvematnitin tana 1,700 kalin vechomrin vegzerot shavot v'dikdukei sofrim nishtakhu b'yimei evlo shel Moshe. 7,000 different manipulation of the Torah, decrees, kulot, chumrot, learning that we learn, zip codes that we had, not zip codes, zip drives that we have to unfold the Torah were forgotten. So you see, we lost tremendous amount of Torah. Amar Rabbi Avahu said that even we lost this, Echziran Atniel ben Kanaz mitoch pipolo, sheneimar in Sefer Yoshua, פרק ט"ו, פסוק י"ז, ולקדנה אלתיאל בן קנז אחי כלב, and he brought it back. He was able to bring it back, and he was able to bring everything back. Very interesting dynamics of what's going on here. Moshe was gone, a lot of the Torah was gone, and then somebody was able to bring it back. But the question is, how and what exactly going on here? And this is very, very, very important. Because the pain that Am Yisrael felt, pay attention. I might tell you something here today that's a tremendous chidush for you. The pain that they felt and the desire that they felt to retrieve the Torah that was lost, that's what allowed Bnei Israel to continue the kesher with the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with the Kadosh Baruch Hu himself, with Moshe, and with his Torah. In other words, the chidush here, that the chisaron, the lacking, created a desire, and a very strong desire, to connect with whatever it is that we lost, and somebody put an effort, and that, in a way, that desire that was burning because of the lacking of Moshe, when he was gone, basically continues until today. I mean, almost 130 generations from the time of Moshe Rabbeinu, we are still trying to revive and to make sure. So look what happened here. Through the forgetting of the halachot, we created a certain dynamics. So therefore, we might be able to understand why HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not fulfill the last request of Moshe Rabbeinu. Why? Because if there is nothing lacking, if nothing is missing, there is no what? There's no pain. And if there's no pain, there's no connection. That's why the gift that Moshe Rabbeinu received in this Shabbat was the gift of pain. Kadosh Baruch Hu, he asked Kadosh Baruch Hu says, no, I'm not giving it to you. I mean, Be'emet, Kadosh Baruch Hu, you can't give it to Moshe. I mean, he did something that no other human being did or will probably do ever again. I'll tell you something. Not even Mashiach is going to be able to do what Moshe Rabbeinu did. To take a bunch of slaves, carry them on his shoulder for 40 years, forming into a nation, suffering all the complaints, and create a momentum for 3,300 whatever years for them to continue to live according to what he gave them. Mashiach will come and will take what Moshe Rabbeinu left. Nobody can do what Moshe Rabbeinu did. So, Ribono Shel Olam, why are you being so difficult? Why didn't you grant him? Just let him go to Eretz Israel. However, we don't understand. If we think like this, we don't understand how Kadosh Baruch Hu interacts in the world. And the gift that he gave him is the gift of Ke'ev and the gift of Ratzon, willingness. I want to. Because I realize that it's missing to me. It's almost like the idea of dealing with some kind of loss that we have, and you know, if you lose somebody or something like that. And if you're going to deny the fact that something or someone dear from you has gone, and this is exactly, besides the Torah that we have here today, this is because, actually it's not today, it's really tomorrow, but we can't do it tomorrow, because it's Shabbat, that's the yortzeit of my father, alav shalom. He died in Tu B'Av, Chag HaAhava. My father chose to die, Chag HaAhava. So that pain is enormous. Now it doesn't make a difference if you're 6 years old, or 60 years old, 5 years old, or 50 years old. The pain is the pain. It's still there. So that pain is, if you're going to deny it, you're not going to be able, if you're going to deny it, you're not going to feel the pain, and therefore there's going to be, of course, we'll get to it a little later, there's going to be some horrible things that will come to you as a result of that. The Mekubalim teach us that all the tefillot that we ever prayed, and every cry for help that we ever received, any help that we received, came from the channel that Moshe Rabbeinu opened up as described in this parasha. He opened up a channel for us. By him not being able to come to Eretz Israel, he opened up a channel for us to basically help ourselves. And as you know, the greatest ratzon, will that one has, is a will that was not fulfilled. That you wanted something and you didn't get it. You wanted so badly. That space that was created because you felt that you're missing something, that creates the kli, that creates the vessel. Right? And that vessel could, that emptiness, that's what makes it into a vessel, that could fill up with whatever it is that you're filling it up. And that vessel, that now that it's full, can fill other vessels. And in a way, that's what we call the sharsheret ha'orah, that's like the rabbis, Moshe Masra Yoshua, Yoshua Masra, and so on and so forth until today. And if you look at this, Moshe Rabbeinu was this great vessel that poured it to Yoshua. Yoshua poured it to the Nevi'im. They poured it to Knesset Gedolah. They poured it to the Tanaim. They filled it up for the Amoraim. And it's the same thing. It's the same water that came from Moshe Rabbeinu, the same bracha that came from Moshe Rabbeinu all the way until today, until us. And our job is to hand it over to the next generation, which will be you. You will be the next generation. Now, in order to be able to do so, you know that you have to go through some emptiness or loss. So that is the Shosheret Orah that we have. And I mean, a similar idea. I mean, you have to understand, if you have a vessel, it doesn't make a difference how beautiful it is. If there's no space in the middle, it's nothing more than a stone or brick or anything like this. It cannot hold. And you see it, for example, with the miracle that happened with Elisha, with the oil, with the shemen. As long as there were empty vessels, the oil from the original pitcher was able to fill the rest of them. When there were no more empty vessels, no more space to hold the oil, it stopped. It's a tremendous thing. So, or let's say, for example, the lacking of the tchelet in the tzitzit, right, that we have the tzitzit for us, causes us to remember, and I made a typo here, to remember, right, the whole process of remembering the tchelet, which looks at the ocean, that looks at the sky, that looks at kisei hakavod, that makes us do tshuva. How do we do it? Okay, so we don't have tchelet, we give up? No, we remember that we don't have it, and that initiates the process. So we need to have something. I'm going to tell you something. This is, people are very impressed with, for example, with Zen Buddhism. Some of the concepts that we have here are more Zen than Zen. What I'm trying to tell you is that we are using empty space to close gaps. We're using empty space to close gap. It sounds weird, but you'll see exactly, hopefully, at the end what I'm talking about. So let's say, for example, somebody dies. If you're going to deny it, and you're not going to feel the pain, you're not going to remember the person, nor you want to do anything to commemorate his memory. Do you understand? And therefore the person is completely forgotten. So before Moshe Rabbeinu leaves this world, he received this greatest gift. It guarantees to Moshe Rabbeinu that he was never going to be separated or disconnected from the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this is not because his wills were completely fulfilled. He got everything he wanted, like a little brat, like a little kid. He doesn't. I saw today. I went today somewhere. I saw a little girl. She, mother didn't get her what she wanted. She basically laid down on the floor. She threw a tantrum and she swept the whole entire floor there all the way out in the store. I was like, she's got a job cut out for her. But that's a little kid. Because if you are smart, if you don't get what you want, now you're going to get up and actually do something positive to get it. You're going to go get a job. You're going to get, or whatever it is that you want to get. You're going to do something about it. If you're an imbecile, you're going to throw a temper tantrum, and you're going to sit on the floor, you're going to cry, right? Not understanding that that's supposed to make you do something. You don't have it, go do something about it. You have a problem, solve it. Don't scoop it on the carpet. You're going to have like the Rocky Mountains under your carpet from all this thing you swapped underneath. That's why I don't have carpets in my house. It's not good. Okay? So the greatest gift that Moshe Rabbeinu got, and we said before, this was the ke'ev, the pain of something that he wanted and he didn't get. And that was something he desired tremendously entering Eretz Yisrael. I'll give you another example. For example, if a person is thirsty, right? He's very, very thirsty. Let's say we just had Tisha B'Av, right? Thirsty, or Yom Kippur, that you daven all day long and you do all these things. So how much do you want to drink at that point? You're like really dying to drink. You're really dying to drink, right? And your willingness to drink is great as long as you didn't drink. If you drank, even if you drank a little bit, and your and your רגע, לעילוי נשמת מי זה?
יששכר בן יונה.
מי זה יששכר בן יונה?
סבא.
סבא, אבא שלי גם היום, היו קצת שלו היום.
תודה רבה.
Even if you drank a little bit, you might be still thirsty. However, you don't want to drink as bad. Or you're hungry, right? You're hungry. You did it all day long. You're feeling a little shaky. You eat something little, you're okay. It's not the same as it was. It's not the same as it was. So, if you get what you want, even if you got a little bit, you don't want it anymore. And in the spiritual world, it's very bad. So, and by the way, there's no difference whether it's drinking or eating or anything else that you feel that you're missing in your life, right? If you get even a little bit of it, it's not the same as it was. And that's Moshe Rabbeinu was guaranteed, was promised, that his connection to the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to be eternal, it's going to be forever. And that's the gift that Moshe Rabbeinu gave us throughout this Shabbat. You see, we could be very spiritual people, we could grow, we could learn, but we have to ask ourselves the question, or maybe one major question among others, but one question: how much pain do I feel? Talking about what we're talking now, how much pain do I feel, for example, for the lack of my chokhmah, of my knowledge, for the lack of my understanding, for the lack in growing in midot and growing in yirat shamayim. How much pain do I feel by not feeling very connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for the lack of connection that I have with HaKadosh Baruch Hu? How much pain do I feel? You have to ask yourself. Now, understanding that what the pain does, what the emptiness, you need to understand, how much do you feel? Do you feel any pain? Do you really care about the fact that you don't feel connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Do you really care about the fact that you're not such a big Talmid Chacham? Do you care about all this lack of wisdom, or you care about money? Why don't you feel this pain? So that's a question that we need to really ask. And then the question right after it, all right, what am I doing about it? What is that I'm going to do about it? How do I use this feeling and now direct it to a positive track? Right? Let's say a Talmid left, for whatever reason, he left. I feel a chisaron, something lacking in me. So what do? I'm going to sit there and go, I'm going to try to bring more guys. But what do I do with this feeling? What do I do about it? A person needs to learn to use his lacking as a device to growth, for building, not for destruction. Our connections needs to be as strong as the pain that we feel as a result of lack of connection. Now, if you understand that, it means that if you don't feel any pain, you're never going to be connected. If you don't feel any pain for the fact that you don't know, you're never going to know. Do you understand what I'm telling you? As it says, Bikashti et sha'ava nafshi, and then what is it after that? Bikashtiv, velo metzativ. Velo metzativ, I didn't find it. Why? Because I keep on asking, because what is Bikashtiv velo metzativ? I mean, Chazal tells us, Yagata umatzata, ta'amin, ani bikashti. But you don't understand. I don't bikashti, okay, just give me this. I want to get closer to Ribono Shel Olam. Bikashti et sha'ava nafshi. How closer do I get to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? No end. Every day I can get closer and closer and closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Every day I fall down in order for me to get up and go up higher. Because if I didn't fall down this day, I cannot use, if I'm a spiritual person, I cannot use that falling down in order to create a momentum for me to go up. I told you this many times. If I want to shoot an arrow further, I need to pull it back. But every day I go up higher. It's not that I fall all the way down. That's a irresponsible, non-spiritual, non-thinking person would do. You fall down, you go up. So even if I fell down, I'm still higher than I was yesterday. But if I give up and I fall all the way up, all free for all, well, good luck getting up. Do you understand? And Nachman talks about it, everybody talks about these things. Don't get discouraged, because there's no day there will be, since the creation of this universe, since creation of heaven and earth, there hasn't been a day that it was identical as the day beforehand, or ever again in the history of the world. So if you are telling me that you are today the same as you were yesterday, I'll tell you, you're not the same. You're further down. Because you should be up every day. Every day you should say, I got closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because I feel the distance from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So every day I got closer. Every day I feel closer to another Jew. Because I feel that we are falling apart. So I need to create this momentum to bring people closer to me. And if, for example, it's like my father died, so now I'm trying to live my life in a way that will be even more respectful for my father. So Chas v'Shalom will not be a disgrace to my father. With the pain that I have, the more pain I have, the more I'll try, Beli Neder. It is a tremendous, what I'm trying to give you now is a tremendous spiritual 101, as they say. And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu did to us here. And this Shabbat, if we will ask that, and if we will feel the pain of missing, Moshe Rabbeinu is going to come and is going to give each and every one of us the ability, the space to grow and to develop. Especially this Shabbat. Moshe Rabbeinu begs HaKadosh Baruch Hu to allow him to come to Eretz Yisrael, together with everybody. Even if we know that he's not going to do, you're not going to help him, but we know that everything HaKadosh Baruch Hu does is a complete tzedek. And therefore there's no room for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there's no reason for us even to think that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to change his mind. There is a tremendous chok, yesod, in creation, and that's called cause and effect. To beg for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so he forgive us by changing his mind, is in a complete opposition to the laws of cause and effect. And Chachamim says that Moshe davened prayed 515 tak tu tfilot. There is a sefer there, Rabbanei wrote, Tav Kuf Tet Vav Tfilot, 515 different ways, as it says V'etchanan. If you take the letters V'etchanan, right, the numerical value of V'etchanan is 515. So what do you understand from that? Rashi explained to us that it says she'en tachanun ela milshon matanat chinam. Tachanun means matanat chinam, a free gift, freebie. And the question is, since when is a person allowed to get matanat chinam, a freebie? Since when you're allowed to get a freebie? Now you understand, I told you this, and that's something that my father, Shalom, said. He said to me, listen, Tishma, en shum davar ba'olam sheze bechinam. You have to pay for everything. And I understood. He said, because even if they tell you this free, you should know that if you get it, you're probably going to pay a price that you cannot afford. So if I go to a supermarket and say, oh, would you like to try something? It's free, it's good. I said, thank you very much, I don't. Well, why? I said, well, my father told me to, I'm not. Well, Michael, once you finish eating, it's not good for you. Continue eating. Yeah, you can eat and chew, אל תחסום שור בדישות, תאכל. יאכלו הענבים וישבעו. תאכל. יאללה, תעבוד. Nothing is free. So, but Moshe Rabbeinu knew that. So therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu knew that there's no chance for him to change the Gzera unless a person reaches a complete dvekut with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because then when he wants something, when he's completely davek b'Kadosh Baruch Hu, aside Retzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when you do your will, whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants, right? Therefore, if you want something, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will do it because you attach your will to him. And that's the secret behind Tzaddik Gozer v'Kadosh Baruch Hu Mekayem. Because the Tzaddik does not have a will of his own. He doesn't have anything that he wants for himself. And he does whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu, wants him to do. And he doesn't want anything for his own. Whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants, that's what I want. So therefore, whatever he says, it's like HaKadosh Baruch Hu does it. Therefore, the Tzaddik does it, right? Like that. And when a person reaches this complete dvekut with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the beginning stage of that is to understand that you're not entitled from anything from anyone. In other words, don't take anything for granted. When you have a sense of entitlement, that's very, very bad. That's very, very bad. And especially you're not entitled to get anything from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not from any person, but especially from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, nothing. When I'm talking about nothing. However, everything that we receive is matanat chinam. Why? Because there's no way for us to pay for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But there's no way for us to pay back. And even if, you should know, everybody, even in his deepest part of his brain, he will tell you, no, I live like this. He still wants to receive something for his action. It's very hard to reach a complete unwillingness of the self to the willingness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A person always wants something. Very hard to do what we call lishma, with no ulterior motive. It's a very difficult thing to do. It's almost impossible. Almost impossible. And you should know that as long as there is this machshava, right, that he deserves something, he could not receive. Because he needs to be completely empty. Therefore, a person that lives with a sense of entitlement, in other words, it says, I deserve, magiali, I deserve it, is always going to be on a level of being dependent, and that is always a level of a slave. And you should know that the more you are receiving freebies, the more enslaved you become to the fact that gives you that. So before you become enslaved to, let's say, governments and people, don't forget, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you more than everybody else could ever give you. So therefore, he has first rights for you. You are his slave because he gave you so much. And you cannot have slaves of two masters. We'll learn this in the Gemara. You are owned by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So don't expect anything from anyone. That's very bad. So with all this tachanun, right, that Moshe Rabbeinu does, he goes further and further into his own awareness and he cleans himself out. Every speck of remnant of what we call magiali, I deserve it, he cleaned up until there was nothing to clean. Until HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to him, Rav lach, al tosef daber elai. Don't talk to him anymore. And the amount of levels that Moshe Rabbeinu needed to clean was 515 different levels that he had to clean, different sections that he had to clean. The only way for us to get matnat chinam is when you want something not for yourself, but for the benefit of the klal, of the people. As we know from Shlomo HaMelech. Shlomo HaMelech got the matana, the gift of wealth, because he asked for wisdom from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to be able to appropriately guide his people. King Solomon. So what happened to him? HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, because you wanted it for your people, I'll give you wealth and wisdom. Or should I say wisdom and wealth? That's why we say when a person davens for his friend, he gets answers first. Why should I answer? Why should I daven for him? I have my own problem. Why should I daven for him? Ma'ani bechinam, אף אתם bechinam. And we need to understand that. So this Shabbat is what we said. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu, by the way, says, "Vayitaber bi lema'anchem." HaKadosh Baruch Hu got a little short temper with me because of you. Why? Because I opened up this path for you. I showed you what you need to do. I showed you that lacking is not a bad thing. And this Shabbat is called Shabbat Nachamu because we read the Haftarah from Yeshayahu that says Nachamu, Nachamu Ami. And it seems like HaKadosh Baruch Hu is trying to comfort us on the destruction of the temple. And I'm going to ask you again what I asked you before. How many people really feel daily the catastrophe that happened to Am Yisrael of the destruction of the temple? How many people really think about this today? How many people really feel bad that there's no Beit HaMikdash? So if there's so many people, most people should maybe don't feel this, so what do we need this comforting? What is this comforting one about? I mean, if somebody, chas v'shalom, something bad happened to him, so saying nice things to him or saying the right thing is going to make him feel better, is going to make things different for him? And the answer is, of course not. And we know the story, right, of when Rabbi Akiva entered and he says to him, he was a good boy, he says, okay, nichamtani, Akiva, nichamtani. Everybody says, says, Hashem natan, Hashem makach, Hashem mevorach. What do we say when something is taken from us? Mevarech al hara, keshem shemevarech al hatov. In other words, whether HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you something or took something for you, you have to make a bracha with the same itlahavut. In other words, if you won the mega power millions lottery, you're going to make a bracha, Baruch Atov ve'ametiv. And if chas v'shalom you lost all your money, you should go to the street and say, Baruch Ata Hashem, Baruch Dayan Haemet. With the same itlahavut, how is this possible? Because you have to understand, it's from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's something for us to learn from this. There's something for us to learn. And it says to us that Chachamim said that in any generation the Beit HaMikdash was not built, this was like destroyed. The Torah already told us in Parashat Terumah that Mikdash has to start. What time is it? We have time. The Beit HaMikdash has to, that building of the Beit HaMikdash has to start with us. How do we know that? Because it says, Ve'asu li mikdash ve'shachanti betocham, and I will dwell inside of them. In other words, as much as our internal mikdash is established, and through that HaKadosh Baruch Hu dwells inside, and His ways being expressed through each and every one of us, making ourselves an appropriate vehicle for lightning of HaKadosh Baruch Hu to spread out in the world. So the building of Beit HaMikdash starts with us, not with an actual building. Starts with our midot, with our musar, and so on and so forth. And if we do so, we could really be mevatel many dinim or gzerot and everything around us, right? Because the Shem Mikdash mechaper, that's also inside of us. I have to point out that we were in a state that Beit HaMikdash was more important to us than HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. Okay? We were in a state that we did not appreciate HaKadosh Baruch Hu, nor appreciated the gift of having the Beit HaMikdash. We were in whether it was his power, or in the wrong way we did it. I mean, a person did an avera, he said, okay, don't worry, masita avera, al tidak, tavi korban, akol yeh beseder. What do you think? Kadosh Baruch Hu is like a shish kebab freak. You have to bring korbanot. That's not the whole inyan is to do the tshuva. And why do you do the tshuva? Because you have to understand that when you do an avera, there is a gap between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And since there is a gap between you, and which of course we always say that this is the punishment. This is the punishment, the gap, not the lashes or the mitot beidin, the gap that you caused when you separate from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when you did the avera. Now that you have the gap inside of you, and you understand, it says, oh my goodness, I went away from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now because of that, you make tshuva with such an intensity, which of course we're talking about tshuva, sheba mi ahava, from love, and love is one. That's why by becoming a Baal tshuva, you can stand in a place that Tzaddik Gamur does not stand. Because that lacking inside of you, because of the gap inside of you, created such a tension that brought you up so much higher. Up to the point that you were mamash davek b'HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you became one with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, it's not possible for you to do an avera because you make your will HaKadosh Baruch Hu's will. And that's a tremendous level that we all in. The Ari explained to us, why do we really read this haftarah after Tisha B'Av? Because the shoresh of the milah nachamu is what? Is nachem. Nun, ched, mem, lo nachman, nachem. Of course, the gematria of nachem is 98, which is the same gematria of tzach. Tzach is clean, or chetz, which is an arrow, right? So you have to be clean, zach, naki, clean, pure. Also, it's the same numerical value of the milah salach. So in order for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to be solech you and comfort you, you need to cleanse yourself. And how do you have to cleanse yourself? You have to shoot straight like an arrow. You have to be completely dedicated to fly through into the target. Yes, sir.
Sach is also the siman for tefillah in Shulchan Aruch.
Yafeh me'od, even better. The siman of tefillah is tzaddik chet. Yafeh me'od, kol hakavod. Or tzaddik bet, tzaddik, all this thing, very good. That's endless. That's the beauty of the Torah. I love it. The Torah is something that's ridiculous, you know. There is a guy that I daven with. I mean, the guy is mamash crazy. Every time I go and deal with this guy, all of a sudden I have all these buttons in my head. It's like he's generating chidushet Torah when I'm with it. He's an amazing guy, really amazing guy. Unbelievable. The Torah is like a bubbling brook, mamash bubbling brook. So, if you look at it like this, the whole purpose of nechama, of comforting, is to take away our negativity. That does not allow our internal mignash to be built, and does not allow, as a result of that, for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to dwell inside of us. So therefore, when a person is a negative person, he cannot be a person that Hashem dwells inside of him. I'm not saying be a fool. Yeah, it's all good, everything terrific. I'm talking about understanding. I'm talking about negativity as a person that understands that even the bad is good. It's just the way, because we look at this like this. It's all our fault, not HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Chaz v'Shalom, wrongdoing. Why? Because everything from Hashem is good. Everything from Hashem is good. And by reading this haftarah, you should pay attention. If you pay attention to it and you read it appropriately, and it's not like, yalla guys, let's go, hurry up. You are cleansing your internal, your pnimiut, your internal self, and would allow us to go to a clean way, which is a better way, to be better serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu as a shlichim, messengers, not Lubavitch shlichim, they're messengers of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to spread out all over the world. And now if you understand, everywhere that the Jew goes, there is a light. When a Jewish community dies, the light of the place goes down with it. We went to Galut to bring the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu all over the world. And when the tikkun of the place is finished, the Jew's gone. You look, many communities. Did you know that there was, and there still is, very small, but did you know that there's a Jewish community in Jamaica? You know, they talk like Bob Marley, the Jews there also, but there's a Jewish community in Jamaica. Needless to say, Cuba. Cubanos. The tikkun of the place is gone, the Jews go. That's why it's important to do this thing. Now I'm going to tell you something. We have 7 weeks between now and Rosh Hashanah. This is Shigaon. 7 weeks between now and Rosh Hashanah. So after the sensation of lacking of the Churban Bet HaMikdash, because of the Nachama, because of everything that we said, because now Bet HaMikdash was we feel the Bet HaMikdash is not by us. And I mean, even the government of Israel made sure that today, in Tisha B'Av, we're not going to be able to even to go in the temple. It's mamash. So it's a big sign for us. Why? Because we have to start a process of positive building, of tikkun midot, fixing your midot, fixing ourselves. Why? Because every Shabbat, every week, is dedicated to a different sfera in the Sheva Sferot of the Ze'er Anpin. This week is the highest one, is the sfera of Da'at, of knowledge. This week is the sfera of Shabbat. I'm sorry, the sfera of Torah. The tikkun has to be b'Torah. We go every Shabbat to a different one until we reach to the last one. The last one is what? Malchut. And what do we do in Rosh Hashanah? Malchuyot. When we're able to fix those Sheva Sferot Tachtonot all the way to Malchut, only when we fix the Sfera of Malchut, and that only depends on how much Torah you learn. You can't fix the Sferot, and including Malchut, until you have Da'at of the Torah. Only then we say Avinu Malkeinu. Only then you can crown HaKadosh Baruch Hu as the king. Then you can stand with him in Rosh Hashanah. But that's the tikkun that we have to do. Don't think, oh, Baruch Hashem, okay, I have a few more weeks. I'm going to go before they start slichot. I go to the Catskill, I go to Poconos, I go to poke your eyes. I don't know, right? This is not dedicated to that. We do not have time to waste. So we have to fix this. That's why the slicha, before we start slichot, has to come from a place of understanding, of not being selfish, of not being negative. This is the time which you have to increase your level ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. That's when you increase the level of ahavat HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, make sure you daven every day on time. Don't daven shacharit at 11 o'clock. You're not a chassid ve'of hatameh ve'asheres ve'oznim. You get up in the morning, you daven on time. You love HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If you love, let's say you have a girlfriend, you're dating now, right? You love her. You want to marry her. Or you love your wife. Are you going to let her wait? You make an appointment, 8 o'clock. What time you show up? 11. You're not. She's going to tell you, what kind of love is this? What are you doing? 2 seconds, goodbye. I'm calling the shotgun. Shalom. Out. You make sure that you're on time. You make sure that you encourage your friends to come and learn. You make sure that you learn. You make sure you stop with all your games for your own self-purposes. To give kavod for yourself, and especially do not use the Torah as a means to push yourself and your own down agendas. This is no room for your agendas. This is not a parliament. This is the world of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in which you have to do whatever you can lichvod Torah. You have to be mechabet Talmidei Chachamim or anybody else, even if it's not a Talmid Chacham. If you're going to work and you have somebody who is not Talmid Chacham and he decided to dedicate his time to learn, you have to stand up for him because he's doing something better than you. He's doing it out of love to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He gave up his world to sit down and learn, even if it's for a year. Needless to say, the rest of his life. This is the time to do it now. This is how you fix and you understand. Because when you be mechabed this person, you're going to say, how about me? Now if you be'emet abar da'at, you're going to sit down and learn yourself. There should not be a day for you without learning Torah. There should not be a day for you with sin'ah, or hatred. There should be a day for you always of learning. And always, always appreciate that somebody did something to you, even if he taught you one letter. Because I'll tell you that, you could never repay them. If somebody sat down and taught you Torah and made you into a person, you should make yourself a doormat to his feet. Because you could never repay him. Because everything that you learn is because of that particular person. Needless to say, to do something to hurt them. Needless to say. Not only you are not building the Bet HaMikdash, you are destroying it all over again. Move and remove your self-agendas out of the palace of Hashem. Of course, as we always say, appreciation is the first, and again, it doesn't make a difference if it's for a person or anything, even for a person. Appreciation is the first stage, hakarat hatov, is the first stage of recognizing and having yirat shamayim. Why? Hakarat hatov, ve'en tov ki en Torah, en tov ki em Hashem, ki me Hashem yetza hatov. So if you do not makir tov to a person, you don't have recognizing the good that a person did for you, you would not for sure going to be able to recognize the good that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did with you, because you don't want to admit that. And you're going to stay away from it. And this is a tremendous avodah that we all have to do. Somebody did to you something big or small. They're on a better level because you did not do it to them. They did it for you. Somebody opened the door for you, say thank you. Thank you should be a very sincere word that you use often. Saying thank you does not make you into a weak person, make you into a strong person, makes you into a better person, makes you into a Yerei Shamayim person. Hopefully this, and understanding that, I can tell you the following, Mehmet. My father was a person, Allah Hashem was a person like that. A person that was always chasing of how to make good for people, to care, and he cared about everybody. He cared about all human beings. Not only he loved Jews, but he cared about everybody that had pain. Everybody that needed help, my father was there to help them. It was an unbelievable lesson that I learned from my father about what does it mean to be a good person. I could never reach his level. Never reach his level. Let me ask you a question. How many of you would help an Arab? How many of you will help a Palestinian? He's in need. I don't know if I can bring myself to, but he did. More than once. He helped. And in return, those people actually helped Am Yisrael in a different way, which is not the place not to talk about. Rabotai, we have to work. There's no time. So if you're feeling something that you're missing, if you don't have it, don't stamp your feet and throw a temper tantrum. Use that as a positive building block. Look at what you don't have and understand that it's not important. Look at what you have. Look at the bracha that you have. And if you don't have something you really wanted, use this gap to fill up your life with the bracha. Fill up with the bracha. Fill your life with the Torah. Fill your life with the ahava of love, ahavat habriyot, ahavat chachamim, and ahavat HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Rabotai, Shabbat Shalom.